Well, we will go ahead and get started. And this shouldn't take too long. And so, Eileen, this is very casual. If you have any questions or want us to show something again, just let us know and we're happy to do that. But I I don't think you and I have met. I don't remember, Eileen, have we met anywhere yet?
I think we had an email back and
Okay.
forth. I'm with St. Peter's in Bainbridge.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll start then with some introductions. Um, and let's see, I'll share my screen here. Okay, we'll start with some introductions, and then today we're going to go through what Canva is. Hopefully nothing too tedious in our overview. And Adam's going to walk through how to use it in ways that help with ministry. And then we'll talk through together some ways that we can use Canva in parishes and in our diocese. So to start with, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm remote in Michigan. So I've got to do everything I can to try and connect faces and names and people together because I'm not on the ground in Central New York as often as I would like to be. So this is kind of a low stakes intro. But you've already shared your parish, but if you could talk about what your role is there and something that it seems like everyone except you loves. That's one of my favorite icebreaker questions. So I'll go first to model it. I am Rachel Ravelette, but most people in the diocese who know me call me Rom-Com, which is a nickname that was given to me by Marion Thompson, one of our lovely lay leaders in the diocese. So I am the communications director. As I mentioned, I am a remote employee. And there are a lot of things that I think the world is punking me on that everybody says they really like that I don't. But the two biggest ones for me are chocolate and The Office, the TV show The Office. Do not like either of those things. Do not understand why other people do. So that's me. Adam, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name is Adam Eichelberger. I am the program coordinator and the secretary of convention for the Episcopal Diocese of Central New York. So I am on our diocesan staff. I am actually in our offices right now because I wanted to be here today. I like to come up here even though we get to like work remotely a lot. Let's see, something that I don't like that everyone else seems to like. I'll say like, this isn't the best example, but so I'm natively from Arizona, and everybody where I'm from every winter tells me how lucky I am to see all the snow, and I could not hate it anymore. I moved here. My family and I moved here 9 years ago because my wife and her whole family's from here, and I could not be more fed up with snow. So I think that it's lost its effect on me. I'm also with you on that, Rachel. Chocolate, I'm not huge on. Like, there's very specific chocolate things that I like, but I'm not huge on chocolate. But I do like The Office.
Fair enough. Eileen, how about you? You said you're from St. Peter's Bainbridge.
Right. And, I am a veteran member. And one thing I don't like is they eat. They just not anytime. And I don't like
Really? Is that
so,
I think asparagus, is that one of those things like cilantro that if you have a specific gene, it tastes different to you than everyone else? There, Adam, you look like cilantro. If you have a specific gene turned on, it tastes like soap to you.
Now that I had heard because my mother-in-law is we call her a soapy soap. There's a couple people in our families that we call in our family that we call soapy soaps because they have the cilantro tree. I didn't know that about asparagus. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Maybe I'm making that up. Don't take your scientific facts from me. I'm not a scientist and I don't play one on TV. So, all right. So the people who aren't here that Eileen, you may or may not have worked with them, but we have a really small but mighty staff in our diocese, and everyone's really helpful. And so for your benefit, but also for the benefit of people who might be watching this on the recording, want to make sure that you know how to who our staff is and how you can get in contact with them. So Kathy Hobart is our controller, and she can help parishes with anything finance related or insurance related. She is a wonderful person who, if she doesn't know the answer, she will find the answer. Like some people are like, I'll get back with you. Kathy will get back with you, and she will get back with you with like step-by-step details. She's so supportive and so helpful. Sarah is the executive assistant to the bishop, and she keeps all of us in line, really. She is a great treasure trove of institutional knowledge, and she was a parish admin at St. Matthew's in Liverpool before she joined diocesan staff. So she understands what it's like as a staff member or a volunteer in a parish and what needs to get done. Then, of course, there's the Reverend Canon Megan Castellan, and I just put canon of everything there. She's technically canon of mission and formation, but she does everything. And all of our contact information is on our website, cnyepiscopal.org. And we're happy for phone calls, emails, whatever people need. But then we also, on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock, every Thursday, have an open office hour with at least one of us there. A lot of times it's 2 or 3 or 4 of us. But we just hang out for an hour so that we can answer any questions as they come up. So that's been a helpful tool for the last few weeks. I think we started that in May. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, just about we're in the middle of May. Yeah.
All right. So let's dig into Canva. And like I said, this is super casual. You can interrupt at any time, any questions. And we'll start with an overview before Adam shows it in action. So what is Canva? So I put here, when I try to describe Canva, it's like if PowerPoint and a clip art book from the mid-century. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but I was a parish administrator. Yeah, okay. So these books, clip art is called clip art because you actually cut it out and then you put it in your design. If you were designing something big, you would lay it out on your big design table, and that name just kind of stuck. But if those had a baby, and then that baby got the biggest glow up of all time, that's Canva. So Canva allows you to select elements like photos or shapes, text, and drag and drop them around like you could in PowerPoint without Microsoft Word, inexplicably moving your images all over the place. So you can drag and drop things into different places to create layouts and design. It's very intuitive and simple to use. And it's robust. It has a lot of tools and a lot of elements, and it's quick to learn, easy to use, and it's still expanding. They're always expanding the offerings. So 3-4 years ago, I would have never recommended Canva to anyone. I was a bit of a graphic design snob. I will admit that. Not that I'm a professional graphic designer, but I work with the tools that professional graphic designers do, like Adobe products. And I was like, Canva is just frustrating. You can't do things. You can't do this, but they are always expanding and improving it. They've acquired another company recently that's more in the high-end design space. And so the tools are always expanding. And I think it's a really great tool. And I use it every week, even though I do have access to Adobe products like Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. So, what can it be used for? Canva can be used to create anything related to visual communication, whether that eventually will be something that you can hold, something physical, or if it's only ever going to live on computer screens. So this presentation, in fact, was created in Canva. I don't love Canva for presentations just because I think there are quirks about it, but it works. So presentations, social media graphics, like so images to use on Instagram, Facebook. You can do videos and short video editing there. So videos for social media or longer form videos, flyers, booklets, worship programs, magazines, signs, flyers, even websites. Basically, if you can look at it and it communicates a message or a feeling, you can create it in Canva. It won't look like like you hired a $50,000 design package, but it will look attractive, and it will not take up much of your time. How are we feeling so far? Do you have any questions at this point?
No. My way through some flyers
Okay.
on Canva. I found it quite frustrating and important. Now we're else right in the net, but I have to use it because that's the program that I have on the computer.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we can show you some things today that might make it a little easier. And again, another plug for office hours or reaching out to us. If you're slog is never a word I want to hear from our volunteers who are helping their parishes. I never want something to feel like that much of a burden. So if there's ever a time where you feel like you're slogging, reach out to us and we can help you troubleshoot through that. Always happy to jump on a call or a Zoom call, and you can share your screen and we can work through that. But hopefully today you'll get some nice quick tips. All right. Sorry, I was fighting with the animation function in Canva when I made this presentation, which is not that's why I don't like making presentations in Canva, but here we go. So how can Canva help us? I think that one thing that I learned when I was a parish administrator, essentially, it wasn't an Episcopal church, is that the rhythm of having a Sunday every week is relentless. There are just a lot of things you have to do every single week. And so I think the biggest help in Canva is that, and this is what Adam will show us, it's easy to create your own templates for things that you need frequently. So in that church, it was an evangelical church. So, we had slides every week because who uses songbooks? Well, they're all on slides. So slideshows, worship programs, sign-up forms, flyers, social media posts about a sermon graphics, because we had sermon series and they all had to have graphics and animations. Creating templates for all that stuff to help streamline those processes, I think, is one of the best ways that Canva can be helpful. And then it has a huge library of elements that you might need. And this is where that clip art book comes into the equation, but it's not just graphics and illustration, videos, stock photos, text layouts, all kinds of assets that you can use. And then finally, how much does it cost? So a basic personal account is free, but if you are working on a free personal account, you will probably very quickly get frustrated because you can search for the things you might use, but you'll see that they all have a little crown on them and you can't use them because you're not a pro or premium subscriber. So the pro account has access to that full library of graphics and video assets. And it is not free typically. However, if you are in a nonprofit like a church, you can apply to get Canva Pro for free. So I just want to show real quick. And I can send this link directly to you, but this is just canva.com/Canva for nonprofits. But it's very simple to go here and click to apply. It's gonna maybe be weird because I am logged in as a nonprofit right now. But all you really need is your 501c3 letter. and I'll stop my share here because I'm gonna pass it over to you, Adam. But in the Diocese of Central New York, each of our parishes is covered under the 501c3 tax exemption of the Episcopal Church, so of the wider church. However, you will need your individual 501c3 letter for your specific parish to get a Canva Pro account. And if that's not something that your parish has, or you can't find it, back to introducing the rest of the staff, the person to reach out to about that is Kathy Hobart. And Kathy will help get you connected with the process to get that 501c3 letter. Again, most parishes probably already have it. That's how you have a parish like purchasing card. That's how you don't pay taxes on, like, I don't know, everything I'm thinking of is food. Apparently I'm hungry. It is lunch and learn. That's how you don't pay taxes on coffee, but coffee's not taxed anyway, not unless it's prepared. But if you were to buy new chairs for your parish hall, you would need your 501c3 tax exemption. So you should already have that, but if not, that's definitely something that your parish will want to have on hand, not just to get Canva Pro, but for other purchasing. So that's, yep, I will send a link to the Canva for Nonprofits page, and I will send you Kathy Hobart's contact information. Actually, I'll just email connect you with her, so you can just reply to the email and she will she'll help you with that process if you don't know where that 501c3 letter is. All right, so Adam, walk us through how Canva can be helpful.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So what you're going to see right here up on the screen is I have just the basic workspace. So this is where you go to find all of the projects that you're going to be working on in Canva. And just for the purposes of what we're going to do today, we're going to take it back a whole bunch of steps and say, okay, my parish wants to work on creating like a new logo and some branding, and I want to be able to use that in the marketing materials or whatever I may be working on for my church. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started with just making, I'm going to start with making a new logo for this fictitious church. So right here in the center, you'll say, what do you want to design today? And some of the nice things about how Canva works is it leans really heavily into some things like AI and machine learning. So I want to say a simple church logo. Oh, I meant to go to here to home. There we go. So I'm going to create a design. I'm going to choose a logo. And I actually recently found this one right here because I like the imagery. I don't like the name, so I can change this a little bit. So I'm actually going to, if I use my cursor and I can highlight all of them, I can actually hit this button that says group. And now when I change one thing on the page, I'm changing everything on the page, which is one of my frustrations sometimes. I'm like, I like this image, but I need to scale text along with it. So I'm going to stretch this out so it looks a little bit larger. I'm gonna put it right in the middle. And this is another thing too. If you remember, there's some tips like this that you can do like in Microsoft Publisher, but it makes it really easy in Canva. I can click right here and say position and choose middle and center. So I know that everything that I'm working on is right in the middle of the page. So I want to change the name of my church. So a lot of times when Rachel and I are doing some demo stuff, I like to use the name Holy Spirit Church. Now, you're going to notice, one, my typing skills aren't that great, but two, my font's super huge, right? It's not fitting in where I want it to fit. I can just highlight all of it. And right here, you can kind of step it down one at a time or hold down this minus key. And I like that. So we'll keep it about that size. And I want to take out the word church, actually. And I want to use the second line and say Episcopal Church. Now, I like the font, but this looks a little wonky, right? You can tell that the letters are really spaced out far apart. So if I click right here, this spacing tool, I can actually bring this all the way back down and bring my letters a little bit closer together. And for some reason, when I use Canva, I like to use round numbers. So I like this spacing that says 262 right here, but it doesn't quite click in my brain. So I'm going to say 250. Perfect. Now I need to adjust the spacing on this a little bit. So I'm going to say ungroup, and I'm going to bring this one right back up here. So it's kind of right underneath it. I also wanted to say, okay, my church is called Holy Spirit Episcopal Church, but I want to maybe add like a tagline. So I'm going to actually just duplicate this line of text. I used Command D on my keyboard, or if you click on it, there's a little duplicate button right here. So you don't even have to copy and paste. Just and it'll just make a whole new version of it for you. I'm going to say a welcoming faith community, right? I don't like how that looks. And I actually want to, because I'm creating this branding, I don't want just one style of font. I'm going to choose a different one. So I'm going to highlight all that text. And I like over here in my text selector, sure, no, I don't like that one. I thought I liked it at first. There we go. Not bad. I'm going to change some capitalization here. And this is a little big, so I'm going to reduce it. Perfect. So now I've kind of created this logo. I understand it's not perfect, but it's decent and it's good enough for what we're doing. Now, why did I go through all of that work? Well, I want to show you. I'm going to click right here and say share at the top. And I want to choose to download this. And now when I do this kind of stuff, and I may be taking a lot of extra steps, so Rachel, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I like to choose the largest size possible because I want bigger the better. I want something that has a really high resolution. And I like to choose transparent background. And that's I'm going to show you why in a second, because a lot of times when you drop your logo, you'll see on the screen, it's got this white background. If I were to download this picture and then put it into a document, it's going to always have that white background behind it. I may not want that. So I'm going to choose a transparent background and download it. And now I've got a copy of this on my computer. I'm going to go back to Canva on the Home tab. And over here at the left, it has this brand drawer. So you'll see here, this is a workspace I use for work. So we have some for the diocese. I'm actually going to create a whole new brand. So right over here on the right-hand side, I have add new. And I'm going to call this Church of the Holy Spirit. Okay. This is where some of the intelligence of Canva really becomes helpful. So I'm going to click here and I can go through my downloads and I can find it, or I can actually just drag it in from my computer. Now it's going to take a look at the image that I'm sharing with it, and it has found all of the colors in my logo. So now if I'm making other content, like I'm making a flyer for an event that's coming up, and if I've said that these are my brand's colors, I can then apply them across a bunch of designs. I'm going to show you how that works in just a second. But I can also, you'll see like right here, just like when you're using a Word document, you can have different types of formatting for different types of text. So I'm going to choose for my title text, I'm going to choose edit. Now I'm going to go back to my Holy Spirit logo, and I like this one. So this is called Cooper Hewitt. I can come in here and choose the font, and it actually sees you recently used Cooper Hewitt. Do you want to use that one? Perfect. And I want to set that because it's usually going to be a bigger font. I'll set that to 64, and I want to make it bold. And then for my heading, what was the second one I used? I think that was Garamond. So I'm going to go back to my brand template. And for a body one, I'm going to choose, I can type it right in. And then I want those to be italicized. So we did a bunch of preliminary work. So how does this help me out? Eileen, you mentioned something about making a flyer. So let's take a look at making a flyer. I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to say church event flyer. And it's going to bring up a bunch of templates. Now, some of these can be, in a word, a lot. There's a lot going on with some of these. So we're not going to necessarily use these for everything. But if I'm looking, nothing's really oh, wait, hold on. I kind of liked this one over here. Again, it's a little busy, but we could do something like, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to say customize this template. So this may be for like a church event that I have going on. I can throw in a picture of maybe a featured speaker or like a guest who's going to be at the church, but I don't like these colors because they don't match my colors. Well, I can actually come in and I can choose this. Now I have over here, up here in this formatting bar, when I click on this object, I can choose the color. And I don't like these colors, but if I change my branding kit to this one and say select brand, I can grab all of the colors for my brand. So I want to change this. Oh, it didn't. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it didn't save.
I didn't save it. So I'm going to refresh. Of course. That's okay. Well, either way, if I had done my job and I'd saved it correctly, I could come in now. Let's say I like
You
this.
could go back to the CNY
Yeah.
brand kit.
That's fair. I can do that too. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to choose my colors. Discard. So here's our one for CNY. And I like this. I don't like this blue. I want to actually use this red that's part of our brand kit. And I can click it. Now down here at the bottom, I can say change all. So everywhere there's an occurrence of that color blue, I can change all of them to that color blue. Every time I see this color orange, I want to use gray. They can all change to that gray. Anytime I want to change font, I can click here in the font selector and it actually has all of my brand text right here. So like this is our, like a bolder typeface. I can click that and I can change all of those occurrences to my font. Now, again, you're gonna have to resize a couple of things, but it makes it way easier to use things that you like for your church. And I can even come in here, like if I have a saved logo, I can come in and drop my logo in there and it makes it a lot easier. Now, I haven't figured out a way yet to just make AI do all of this for me, but there are some really neat AI tools that it can let you do. So like you can do things like take text that you guys have written as a church and throw it into what's called Magic AI in Canva, and it can help you come up with, now I'm going to make a disclaimer, and Rachel has a really good session about AI that she's going to be doing for us. You can actually have it help you write a quick blurb of text for an Instagram post or a Facebook post that you want to put out for your parish, but don't just take it at its word. Like tell it what you want and then go back in and change things so that you actually are saying what you want to say. But it can learn how you talk and help make suggestions for how you can make posts. But that's how you can actually use brand kits in Canva to develop your own brand and then apply it to designs that you may be working on for like events or even things like your weekly bulletin. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Eileen, do you have any questions about anything? I know I kind of threw a lot at you in like 5 minutes, but. Oh, Rachel, I think because you're on mute, I can't hear Eileen's side of the conversation.
Please, that's helpful. So it doesn't have to be done manually.
Yeah.
Example, we'd like to get a two-fold flyer, so 8.5 by 11 folded twice. Is there a sample for that?
I mean, I'm sure if we dug down, I could find something like that, but that would be an instance where I could either help you or Adam could help you, or you could play with it on your own. You can also, because I just did a search for twofold. Well, here, what if I did twofold? Yeah. Yeah, so let me share. Hi Lynn, I'm glad you're able to join us. Mine looks a little different from Adam. I do all the things in dark mode because I'm not as sunny as Adam is, I guess. But this is twofold brochure templates, 5-fold brochure. Yeah, so there are a ton of templates. Some of them I'm like, who's creating this that they need to have it so often that they need a template? But there are a ton of different templates you can search through and share. And if you, again, this is an instance where if you ever get stuck, I'm happy to lay out like folds in a Canva template, a blank template that then you could that I could share with you, and you could go in and customize.
Whatever, have one fold on the middle.
Sure.
Now, is
That's what bifold.
we want
So like it would be a tri. So that's actually a trifold brochure, oddly enough, because it makes 3 sections, even though there are only 2 folds. So that's kind of confusing. But so here's an example where we could go in and customize this template. It's got the 2 folds, but you see it's already like you can see where your panels are that you need to stay in that.
right. Little bit marketing
Yeah.
fairs that are coming up. So
Awesome.
we're looking to do a simple takeaway.
Awesome. And that's
Yeah.
definitely something that if you wanted us to set up a brochure, if you sent a template for you, I could put in some frames where you could put images. I'm sorry, I don't know why my camera is so far behind. It's a little strange. But we could talk you through that so that it's a little bit more accessible for every time you want to do it.
Right.
I thought what I would show you now is just some ways that I've used that I use Canva to give you some just some ideas. So if you, for example, everything that we did for general convention was made in Canva. So you can see there are daily recaps, and I would, let's see, this is Saturday, so this is like the 3rd day. But I was just pulling stuff in, and I created, you might have seen in our brand kits, I made a color palette for GC81 because the general convention logo had 9 billion colors in it. So instead of having to look them up all the time, I just created it. And for some of them, I would reuse slides that I had used on a previous day, change the text and the photos, and then go over here and say, okay, just shuffle it, use the right colors, and then it would make it fresh and new for me. So that was a big job, the daily updates that took probably 3 or 4 hours for each day's updates to get them all in order and ready to post, and Canva made it a lot easier. Going back, let's see. Here's an example that you might use in a parish. So I recently built a new website for Zion in Rome. And so one thing that we did is we wanted to keep the functionality of how their newsletter works the same. They're not ready to make the switch over to an e-newsletter. So like a lot of parishes, they design it, I think, in Publisher or Microsoft Word and save it as a PDF. But instead of just like posting a link, I was like, all right, well, let's make these look like buttons. And so made buttons for each of the months of the year. They're graphics that function as buttons in the Squarespace website we built for them. Other ways that I use it, Messenger and calendar graphics. So if you're watching the Messenger and you see some things going on, all of these things started, including, here's Lunch and Learn, including this was a template that you'll notice the brand colors are there. I switched out. That is not what the original template looked like in terms of colors. So I just switched everything over like Adam showed you. I think this was like green and purple maybe. And I switched it over to our red and blue. But
biography because there's feast day. And it's like, well, you might just as well know what this thing behind the feast
Yeah.
day. It's a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
So it would so a PDF might be still the way to go.
So
Or,
that's so cool.
well, they would be able to see it because it would just be able to pop up. It's not like they need.
Nope. Nope. You can download everything out of Canva. You can also create links to projects. So like I could make a link, a public share link to the presentation I showed earlier, and you could access that on your own. But in terms of your question about, is it good for more text? I love that question because my brain automatically goes to accessibility. So this is something that that I'll talk about in the AI summer series event tomorrow night. But accessibility includes writing alt text image descriptions for your images. So we have people who get the newsletter, and I'll show you. Let's see, it might be better if I log in to MailChimp and show. Oh, of course. Sorry, now I've got to change where my phone is, so I hope that doesn't affect what you can hear. 9. So there are some people who, if I open the latest messenger, so oh, this is the new one. Let me open the one that's already sent. So this was the latest edition of the messenger that went out. So you can see that it's very image heavy. And I'm trying to think, if this was not created in Canva, this was created in Illustrator. But so this was created in Illustrator. But everything else, Canva, 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 Canva. So you can see it's a really image heavy newsletter, but we have people who receive this newsletter in plain text because they have low or no vision. And that looks like this. And so if I put a ton of text in the images, they can't, their screen readers won't read that to them. So they don't have access to that information. So the more text you put in an image, the more comprehensive your image description needs to be. And I'll share some AI tools that I use. If you pay attention at the end of the newsletter, there is an AI disclosure. And I can't see it because of the screen sharing menu. You might be able to see it, but it's right here. So I use AI to help generate image description. So I try not to add a ton of text to images. Sometimes that's really hard. But in your particular instance, what I would do with your, which I love your Saint bios that you're doing, that's a really cool engagement piece. I would go here, and you can use Canva like a doc. And so if I was typing about Adam, he's a cool dude, great coworker, etc. And then I'm like, the reason why you might do this in Canva instead of Word is that all of your Canva stuff would be here. So I could go into my brand and say, okay, I want to put my church's logo in there. It's already there. I don't have to find it, and I can move it around. I'm not going to mess with that. I can change all the settings to my brand template. Brand voice is one of those AI tools that Adam told you about. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But then I can say, okay, I've got an image of, I don't know if I have an image of you uploaded in here, Adam, but we'll say that, okay, maybe it's about St. Sarah, but I can upload an image and I've got that there. Maybe I'm going to use that also in my worship program about that saint. Maybe I want to create a social media post to let people know just a little bit about the saint. And if you want more, join our newsletter. All of those things then are like all in one bucket, and Canva is where you can take the pieces and lay them out the way you want. So that's how I might approach that. I don't know if that answered your question.
Me part of the way there, because there's a lot of text, but it's not to say that there couldn't also be the cut down version that we do on our public Facebook. It would be, instead of 1,000 words, it can be, hey, they died horribly, but in the middle, this is what happened. So a way to go around it. Wind up having to do two things instead of one, but the other one may be more accessible to more people.
Well, you also could make it easy on yourself. So if I've got if this were text heavy and I've got everything put out here for my long version that I would do and say, okay, yeah, maybe I do want a public short version to kind of tease people. This button here, magic switch, I can convert this to a presentation. And do that. So the dock functions a little bit differently than other things, but now you'll notice that this button says resize and magic switch. So I could say, I want this to be a square Instagram post, and it's going to take all of the elements that I had in that original PDF. I'm going to resize this design, and now it's all there. So now instead of having to find the stuff and add it back in again, it's just been resized. And so I can move things around and say, oh, okay, well, I want this actually in front of the white square. So I'm going to move that to the front. And well, that logo doesn't work there, but I do like that background. So I'm going to change that. And just grab a different logo from my brand that works with the color. And so I haven't, yes, I've created something new, but it's like copying and pasting everything that was in that document and saying, okay, here are all the elements. Here's a new canvas size for you to move them around on and create what you need. So that's another great, I think, advantage of Canva is that you can create something once and then resize it and resize it and resize it. So it works in different settings. So one question that I have for you all is, we are happy to design Canva templates for you. We are happy to work through how to do functions. Like, this has been a broad overview of Canva. And so one question I have is, what sorts of templates or what sorts of trainings would be helpful to you? And then we can work on putting those together and getting those out for you. I will say that one video I'm going to create probably not this week, probably next week, is looking at, okay, how can I make worship programs even simpler by using an app, a free app called Venite, and a Canva template. So putting those two things together for a quick worship program churn out where you don't have to look in 15 different places to get the readings and all of that. So that's one thing that's in the pipeline, but what else might be helpful to you all?
Did you say something about video? Is this convertible to a video, or like PowerPoint does slideshows where you can loop it? Does that do the same thing in Canva?
Yeah, great question, Lynn. So that's another, I think, really powerful part of Canva that you don't get in normal graphic design is that these pages can also be slides. So you can see this could be, let me open a, here, I'll just make a copy of this Lunch and Learn and play with that. So right now, when I was working on this, I was thinking static image, but if I wanted to say, make a quick promo video for TikTok, let's say, so I could resize and go to social media, TikTok video. Oh, that reminded me of pop-up video. So now it's resized to that, but I can say, all right, I want to animate this so that when I put some background music on it, I could do that in here, but I could put some background music on it and it's a 15-second video. So I can say, all right, let's rotate this. And we'll have this, do that. I don't know. I'm just clicking random things. And I can go through and change the timing on all of that. So I can say, okay, this is a baseline and I want it to go faster. I want it to come from here. And then I'll look at what it's doing here and it's automatically done that. And I'm like, all right, well, let's slow it down. I can extend it. I can do all of that. And then when I go to download or share, I'm going to choose video and it automatically chooses video for me. When it's like, oh, you've added animation, you probably don't want this to be a PNG anymore. And so an example of how I've used that, let me go here. And I'll just go to the Lunch and Learn folder. So this is a video splash that I created for 2 Lunch and Learns ago, and then revised for the Lunch and Learn that Adam did about Google. And you'll see if I present that it just kind of builds it together and download it. Another video I did, I have access to really powerful video editing tools, so I don't use Canva for video a lot, but sometimes if I just need some like stock video and like it's just there in Canva, so you can see this one. Oh, it's gonna be glitchy. Sorry. Sometimes when I'm screen sharing, my internet gets a little glitchy, but so that is a splash screen for a video that actually has a splash in it. And I giggled to myself about that a lot. But video, yeah, editing videos together. I'm trying to remember, I just did one because I don't normally do video in Canva. It was for something. Yes, it was for these videos that were part of our general convention coverage. So I love that I love that it starts with her laugh. But I thought there were some builds in this, but I guess not. But yeah, so you can. Long, very answer, too long, didn't read. You can. Yes. I want to be mindful of time. So are there any other questions that you have for Adam or for me right now? Or do you already have an idea of what might be helpful for you if we create some templates?
Well, I came in late, so I wasn't sure. The Canva, is that a free software? Is that a purchased software?
Great question. Yes and yes. But mostly yes. It is, you can have a personal free account, but you then wouldn't have access to any, let's say, anything that has a little crown on it. You have to be a pro subscriber to use. So you would find out pretty quickly that a free account is very limited, but nonprofits get to have Canva Pro accounts for free. Yeah, Adam's dropped the link in the chat there. All you need is your 501c3 letter, which all of our parishes in the diocese are covered but by 501c3. And if you don't have your letter, you'll reach out to Kathy Hobart and she'll help you get that. But so yeah, you can have access to all of this for free in perpetuity, which is pretty great.
Thank you, very helpful.
Let's learn. They were recorded. Where do you find those?
Those are on YouTube. I can send you links when we're done.
Okay. Because we can go over this.
Yes.
Anyways, I can go through because I'm on a laptop. And, you know, and we covered a lot of.
Yes, we did. Yep. And the recording will be up before the messenger goes out on Friday. This recording will be up. So I'll make sure to send that link to you directly in case you missed the social post about it.
Totally mobile and on the phone. If it doesn't look good on the phone, they're not gonna read it. So does this swap over to all the different platforms?
Yeah, it does beautifully. And I love that you're aware of that. More than, well, the majority of online traffic is non-human. So there's a fun thing. Most of the things that are happening on the internet are happening because of bots. But the majority of human internet traffic is on mobile. And so thinking mobile first is a really important part of that. So all of these images that you see here, like here's an example of, there's my date error, but prayers for General Convention and these, oh, yep, there's where I had to correct the date, which actually was very simple because I just had to go back into the template and change it. But when you download these images, they're all high quality images, and these have all been shared on Instagram and on Facebook. So they work well. And then here's me breaking my rule about text and images, but I believe if I did what I meant to do on these posts, which who knows, General Convention was a wild time, but I meant to also put the text in the actual caption. So it worked to capture people's attention and it was accessible. Yeah, so yes, again, I give very long answers. Yes, these images work well on phones. And if you have people who will be helping you with Canva designs for your church and they don't have a computer, the Canva app for phones is excellent. In our family, each person gets one entertainment subscription at a time. And because I'm raising a nerd, just like me, my daughter's entertainment subscription right now is Canva Pro, and she spends her day like designing flyers for non-existent businesses and things like that. She's 11. And she, I mean, I have not taught her anything about Canva. She just saw me using it once for work and she was like, I want to do that. And so she's gone in and played and figured things out. And she does have one of my old computers as a tablet, but she mostly does it on the phone, the decommissioned phone that she has to play on. So she's done videos on that. And what's really handy about that is if she records it, she likes to pretend she has a YouTube channel. Her career goal right now is to be a YouTuber. And I'm trying not to freak out about that because YouTube probably won't even exist in when she does that, or it'll be different or whatever. But she'll record videos on her phone and plop them into a Canva, upload them right from her phone and plop them in. Yeah, Adam's showing that the app, it works. The interface is very similar to using it on a computer. You can also, so on the tablet she's using it on, she doesn't have access to a web browser because creeps. So there's a Canva for desktop app that she uses when she does use her computer. So there are a lot of ways to access it and create things that are accessible and easy to use across different platforms and devices.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
Adam,
have we forgotten anything in terms of basics?
No. And I know that we probably touched on a couple things that maybe you had questions about. You probably still have a bunch more. So like Rachel mentioned, if you have time on Thursdays from 10 to 11, stop by office hour with staff. Rachel or I are usually in there, one of us or both of us, and we can happily answer a quick question for you guys and help partner with you to help kind of maybe find a solution to something you're working on if it's a Canva related thing. Also, don't be afraid to use YouTube University to learn about a lot of this stuff. A lot of times there's a lot of great content creators who have made easy to use instructions on YouTube as well. But yeah, just get into it. Like, just get into it and get messy. You're not going to break anything, I promise.
All right. Well,
Great job. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was so good to put a name with a face, Eileen and Lynn. It's always good to see you. And I'll make sure to get this recording to you both, Lynn, so you can see what you missed. And Eileen, in case you want to zoom in and see things a little more, I'll also send you that public share link to the presentation I created for today's workshop in Canva. So you'll see how that user experience is when you receive a link like that. Yeah, just what Adam said, anything you need. We're always thrilled to hear from people and to know what it is you actually need help with, so that we're not just making up what we think you might want help with. So it was good to talk to you all and see you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.
Very good. Bye.